Hey, Flo here. Not sure if there's a good enough signal to really do this stream, but I just figured I'd try. It's kind of on the edge of whether it's good enough or not. I made it to that higher Crescent Ridge volcano, and I'll try to go up to the top. Well, I'm sure I'll make it to the top. Shouldn't be a problem, but as far as live streaming my adventure all the way, we'll see how that goes. Some kind of cool rocks here. I don't really know how to describe them, but they're just interesting, kind of globular shapes with different colors and textures. Kind of reminds me of I don't know, I should have these memorized from my childhood, but I don't remember all the dinosaur names. But it looks like that one that has the bone head. I want to say Cephalodonticus, but it's probably not right. Anyway, but yeah, reminds me of those guys. Kind of cool things. So yeah, here we go. I used to really like dinosaurs when I was a kid. I think kind of every kid does, but yeah, I was really into dinosaurs. Of course, I like Batman and Superman. It sounds kind of quaint, the things that I liked, because now everybody likes the same things pretty much. Like everybody likes superheroes, everybody likes whatever. But back then it wasn't quite as common. Like there was kind of a nerdy comic book group that was more into the superheroes and stuff, and then the general population knew of them but weren't really that. I mean, I guess it's kind of the same now, but it felt different just because there was no internet, and it's just, yeah. How circular these are, though. Looks like a helmet of some kind, or a transformer head. So yeah, I'll stream this as long as I'm able. Hopefully I can get to the top, keep it going. That would be fun. Again, I don't know if I'll do another Bible reading stream because of my battery scenario. I probably would have been fine all day today if I would have noticed that cord I was using wasn't charging, because I've pretty much maintained since then. And since I've had some nice breaks between live streams, I've gotten, 10% back here, 10 or 12%. So back up to like 50 again. It's pretty good considering I was down to 2%. That was insane. I've never taken it that close. I actually thought my phone was completely off, but apparently it's smart enough to like turn the screen off and it looked like it's off, but I think it was still live streaming, which is kind of amazing to me. Live streaming with 2% battery, that's crazy. I was probably like minutes away from completely dying, and I finished though. You'll hear me saying stuff like that often on my streams and in real life, where there's things that happen that seem really unlikely, and I don't believe in coincidence or luck, not because I'm a fatalist or fatist or something, but I do believe in the sovereignty of God, and He does allow terrible things in the world because of our sin nature and His unknown mysterious ways, but He also is constantly looking out for us, and if we just kind of look around and see the things that happen, just some of those happy coincidences and cool stuff like that, I tend to think it's kind of just a little gift for me that day, and it also it kind of relates to Him too. I was doing a Bible reading stream, and I was able to share all the thoughts and got all the way through the reading except for 2%. I mean, that's so close. It's ridiculous. So I just see that as a cool thing. And those kind of things have been happening more lately, or perhaps I've been more tuned in, watching out trying to pay attention kind of a thing. I don't know. Wow, this is another fairly steep ridgeline. So far it's easy. It's just like mostly kind of flat. There's rocks underneath all this, but there's so many pine needles that it's kind of creating a very stable layer to walk on. So I'm not having any difficulties yet. All day today I've been taking it very easy as far as the effort that I'm putting into my pace and all that stuff. So I'm barely even I'm not breaking a sweat really, and I'm not breathing as heavily as I usually do. And part of the reason for that is and I'm thinking this might be my last hike, or this last place to explore today. I somehow forgot to put my hiking sock on. I mean, it sounds crazy. You might be picturing is one of your feet barefoot inside your shoe, and no, I'm not. I can't forget that. I think it would be time to send me to a memory care place if I did that, but it's not that far away from that. I usually wear sock liners, which are these really soft, thinner socks. So it's a sock, but it's not a really thick, strong one. And then I put my thicker hiking sock over the top of that. And almost every time I put my shoes on these days, I feel like I'm about to forget something, like either one of those two socks, or it's kind of a process. I put my two socks on, and then I have these tiny gaiters that I wear to keep the rocks out of my shoes and stuff. And so it's kind of more of a complicated process to get my shoes on, and so I'm always nearly forgetting something. And so I finally actually forgot something today, and it's a fairly important piece of gear, sock. So I'm not in my greatest foot scenario today. It's not really terrible though, because the sock liners are actually, in my opinion, one of the best parts, most comfortable. And those go inside the normal socks. So I'm not getting huge blisters yet or in major pain, but because I noticed that earlier that I didn't have my primary sock on, I've been taking it even easier because I don't want to risk getting some massive blister on my toes. And that's kind of why you see me just barely moving here. But also, just kind of enjoying the slower pace today for some reason. I don't really have, other than the sock issue, I don't have any major reason to be going slow. If it was actually a 90 or 100 degree day, I would be going this slow just to decrease the risk of overheating and having a heat stroke or something. But it's really not that bad today. I think it's around 80 degrees, but as you can probably hear, maybe even see, it's very windy up here. Possibly so much so that it'll be hard to hear me over the wind noise. But anyway, because of that, it actually feels pretty nice. But I do feel like it's just hot enough that if I don't drink enough water and if I worked too hard, I could still have some heat related issues. So it's yet another reason to kind of take it easy, I guess. This landscape with the burnt trees looks kind of cool, so I'm taking a couple pictures as I go. Yeah, this will be my last butte for the day, I think. Although there's actually a trail up here on the other side of this topmost volcano. So what I might do, I don't know, I'm kind of debating with myself as I'm talking, but I was just realizing that was there, and I might take that back down, and if there was another small destination like a butte along that trail, I would maybe do one more. But the reason I hesitated there is because it would also be fun to go back down the same way I came and complete the shape of the walk along the perimeter of the ridge lines of the volcanoes, so that I trace their shapes, because I only did kind of half one side on most of them on my way up, and then I typically plan to come down the same route, and then I would complete the loop on the volcanoes. But I don't know, my toe actually is feeling a little bit sensitive, my big toe, because of the sock scenario, so I might take that into consideration, because I definitely don't want a blister to get really bad. And so we'll see when I get up here if I see that trail and it looks like a much better surface to walk on, which of course it will be, because this is very rugged bushwhacking. I will probably take the trail back in that case, and then if I'm really feeling like a completionist, someday I'll come back up here and trace the outlines of these volcanoes more fully. Hey, Iconoclast, nice view. Yeah, I'm on the last one of 3 volcanoes that I've explored today. This will probably be my last one. I'm gonna head down once I get to the top of this and see what it's all about. Just talking about how I forgot my hiking sock, and I'm wearing just like a liner, and it's kind of concerned I might get a blister. So I have tons of time left today, so my original plan was to go up to these 3, go back down, and then there's like another route I can take to explore more volcanoes. But because of my sock situation, I think I'm going to head back. Which Providence? Okay, maybe I need to read my first journal entry. I was toying around with starting to read my journal today, and my literal first ever journal entry is about providence, and I think I see all of these little things as providence. I don't know if it's the right word, but it kind of comes to mind. Basically, God showing you his control and sovereignty over all creation, including the great and small things, stars, galaxies, quarks, atoms, molecules, hairs of our head, every single human life, animal, every rock on this volcano. He's intimately aware and in complete control of every possible thing, and so he can kind of show up sometimes in the little details if he chooses to, by if we are paying attention, to make things just kind of work out in an impressive or fun way, because he's, I'm sure he has a sense of humor, and he's probably smiling sometimes when he's kind of orchestrating creation, and sometimes we get to see it. Other times, I think most of the time, we're just not paying attention and we miss it. But anyway, my first ever journal entry I wrote as a teenager was on that very topic, so it kind of makes me inclined to maybe read it, but we'll see. Interested, read 1 John 1 again that I read earlier today. There's not a single thing that has been made that he didn't make. And it's actually talking about Jesus. It's pretty cool. So he is literally divinity. He is God. He's one with the Father. They form some mysterious, there's just one God, but That's why they came up with the idea of Trinity, is because they don't really have a way to understand it otherwise, because it talks about Jesus and the Father and the Spirit, the Holy Spirit, and kind of in three separate terms and contexts, sometimes at the same time. And so that's, a lot of people complain that Trinity's not in the Bible. Well, the word Trinity is not in the Bible, that's true, but the concepts are there as best as we can understand. I don't fully claim to understand that stuff at all, but I do know that I 100% believe that Jesus is God. He created everything. Like, he took the time to create that thing. I don't even know what I'm pointing at, because it doesn't matter. That thing, that thing, that thing, that thing, that thing. Like, he made all those things. Everything that's been made, everything that is a material, something you can describe in any fashion or look at or experience, he made all that stuff. Even things you can't see, like the wind. I think it says in Ephesians somewhere, I'm not very good at remembering Bible references, but he made everything that's seen and unseen on earth and in heaven. It literally says that. I mean, I'm not, like, my quotation is not spot on, but Jesus made everything that is visible and everything that is invisible, everything on earth and everything in heaven. So depending on how you define heaven, that could either mean all of the cosmos, like all of the planets and stars and asteroids and galaxies and everything, which of course it includes that, but it could also mean, and I believe it does, like heaven, not just the heavens, but like heaven. So he made, of course, the angels. He made I think he made the throne. I think he actually made the throne that God sits on. I mean, just because, what else? Like, if he made everything in heaven, there's a throne in heaven, he made that. he made everything. Okay. Because when you think about it, like God himself is the only eternal being or object. Like, there's things around him and that he uses or references that those things didn't exist forever. So it's not necessarily true that God's throne always existed, because God's throne is not God. We don't worship God's throne, we worship God. And so at some point in time, it's quite possible that God's throne, the place where he sits, figuratively, I don't know if he actually sits down there, but the concept of his throne, that was made at some point in time. But he himself has always existed and always will exist. And it says that Jesus is preparing a place for you, for us, his people, his followers. He says, in my house are many mansions, and I go there to prepare a place for you. And he says something like, if I wasn't preparing a place for you, I wouldn't say that, kind of a thing. He's like, no, really, I'm really actually doing that. Truly, truly, I say to you. He says that kind of thing a lot. He's literally, Jesus is up in heaven building stuff for us. He's a stinking good builder. You know why? Some people might think of like, oh, he was a carpenter. Of course, he can make all sorts of cool stuff. Well, that's kind of minor. He made the entire universe, the entire earth, all of us, everything in it. And that's why that song I was saying earlier, from him all things come, and to him all things go. So he deserves all the glory because he literally made everything. So, okay, let's see. What's actually more mysterious than that, I don't think that's hard to believe. Like, if God exists, he made everything. Like, that's just plain and simple. That's what God does. Like, that's like when you think, well, what's a God? What does he do? Well, he makes everything. Because he existed before everything. So everything else he would have had to have made, of course. So that's not hard to understand. The thing that's actually harder to understand, and this is what a lot of people don't like, and I don't understand it either, is if God made everything, how can stuff be so messed up, you know? Like, how can people make such terrible mistakes? But that's how I can't believe in a perfect definition of predestination, because that would imply that God also forced people to sin, which God is incapable of sinning himself, and he's also not tempted by sin, and he does not tempt anyone. We know that from Scripture. So the only other conclusion that's actually possible at all is that he gave creatures the ability to choose to obey or disobey. So that's why I can't be a Calvinist. It just doesn't make any sense at all whatsoever. It makes no sense. 0 sense at all. But he did actually choose in advance who would be saved. That's where the predestination thing comes in. Like, he chooses us, we don't choose him. But that doesn't mean he forces us to sin. That's where it kind of breaks down. It's really, really windy up here, by the way. I think this is what do you call those things? Like a wind tunnel. I'm kind of wondering now, because of the shape of those crescent volcanoes, if it's kind of channeling the wind right up in this area, because it's sustained. Like, it's not even like gusts of wind. It's like constant kind of it's not even really increasing or decreasing. It's just a constant amount of wind. It's really interesting, actually. I have not experienced anything quite like that for quite a while, except when I'm at the beach. It's actually very much like that. And we don't normally get that type of wind here, where it's just sustained and constant like it is. I find it kind of fascinating. My best guess is that it does have something to do with the shape of the landscape, just channeling the wind in a perfect direction. So I don't really see any weather systems necessarily. I'm sure there is. Like, I can see that cloud up there. It's moving at a steady pace, but as far as, like, there's no storms or anything. There might be later, I don't know. Had a pretty nasty storm yesterday, that's for sure. And I guess I'll get a picture of that cloud just because it's something to look at. It's kind of a nice texture to it behind those trees. I think this will further save time. So I was talking about earlier in one of my first streams how I switched from HDR mode on my Sony a6000 to, I think it's called DRO, Dynamic Range Optimization is probably what that stands for. It just takes a single shot, far faster, and it's also adding a tone curve to get some highlight and shadow recovery, but I don't actually know how it works. Like, if they're smart, they would be taking a raw input and applying a tone curve to it. If it's not as good as that, then it could just be the final JPEG with the tone curve applied, which would be very lossy, of course, but I don't actually know how it works on this camera. I think I'm sort of having to recreate memories of how I did things in the past, and I think in the in the past, before I stopped using my Sony camera in favor of trying my cell phone as my main camera, I think I actually used the DRO more often. I probably came to these same conclusions back then and just had to recreate the circumstances to come to that conclusion again. Oh. By the way, if something happens to me, don't fear. Just know that my time was up and God took me home. I'd be happy to go. Not saying that anything's going to, but my health isn't the best, and sometimes I wonder if it's my time, and I'd be okay with that. So you know, if that happens to me, don't fear, don't be sad. I'm here for a limited time only, as we all are. Use your time wisely. Get to know Jesus. It's the best thing you can possibly do in this life, I promise. Wow, this just keeps going up and up and up. This is crazy. I actually thought it was close to the top a while ago, and it just keeps going. I feel like I should probably batten down the hatches, get my hat cinched up. It's on pretty tight, but I have this little thing that goes under my chin, and I just realized it was flapping in my face. I don't want to lose my hat in a huge gust of wind. It's just like constantly going. Stairway to heaven. I can make it. Actually, I can't make it except on the work of Christ laid before me. I just have to follow and give my life to Him, accepting His sacrifice for my sake. For only His good works can get anybody to heaven, and that's the whole reason He came. Because none of us, not a single person, can make it on their own effort. if any place had the appearance of climbing up to heaven, this is one of those. So windy, it's unbelievable. It's Donkey Kong Country 5. Just got a couple items in the game. That's what you were hearing there. Bonus. Huh, interesting. So as soon as I got up over that bend, the wind died down. Either because of the geometry of the landscape, or it literally just happened to stop right then. It's interesting. I don't know which is the answer, but it's suddenly like way calmer. I think it's probably just died down and start again. It could be these trees here sheltering it a little too. I'm not sure. But it's pleasant that it, at least give me a little break. This actually, I don't know why, but this looks like a park. The way there's not much in between the trees. It just looks like something you would see in like a public park or something. A lot of cool looking trees up here too. Very windswept, which kind of leads me to believe that it's probably always windy up here or something about it. Because it looks like all the trees are pointing to the left, and the wind is coming from my right, so it kind of matches what I'm experiencing. It's kind of like you see at the beach where all the juniper trees or whatever they are all pointing away from the land. I mean, from the coast. At least on the west coast, that's usually how it is. probably do a reading up here just because it's calmed down. Part of the reason I was thinking I probably wouldn't do that is because of the wind, and it's suddenly much better. So we'll see. Signal held out the whole time, which is cool. Whereas this, I'm on the west coast of the US. I don't usually say exactly where I'm at, but just United States, west coast. I live in Oregon, so most of my adventures are in Oregon, but I occasionally made my way to Washington quite a bit, and Idaho. Most recently, all my adventures have been in Oregon. Oh, this is cool. It's not quite as good of a view as back there with all these trees in the way, but it's still really nice. There's actually more mountains up higher that I could go to, but not today, just because of my sock situation. I forgot to put on my normal hiking socks, so I'm kind of worried that I might get blisters. But there's some more even higher mountains over there that I could go to. And originally I was considering that until I discovered that I forgot to put my sock on. But I think it's like Providence, like I was saying before, like I'm not supposed to do that for some reason. I know that some people would call that superstition, but it's different when you're acknowledging the existence of a supreme being who has everything under his control. So I don't know, we'll see. This is a nice spot here. It looks kind of cool with those branchy things. It's like dried up bush branches, but it might actually be better over here for some reason. This tree would be nice for shade. It's not quite as nice of a view this direction, but the tree itself looks kind of cool. But I guess there's a view right here. I don't know, we'll see. I think I'll sit down for a while. If nothing else, I'll use it as a chance to take a snack break, because I haven't eaten anything yet. I mean, I had breakfast, but I haven't had a snack or anything. At the bare minimum, I'll get a snack. I think I prefer to find the place that has the least amount of wind. It's kind of windy. If I sat right behind this big tree, it might shield the wind, but that might not be very interesting. So let me see I could put the camera over there though. I'm not too worried about wind on me. I just don't want it to blow the camera over, so it's not a very good angle, so I'll go over here and see if it's better back where I was just a second ago. I think this is probably a better spot in general. It's a little bit better view, and I think there's even a little bit more wind protection possibly, so this is good. This will work. So we'll see. I kind of want to read my first journal entry. I'm at the top of the 3 mountains. It just feels like that moment, and all the things came together. Like you might think I scripted this whole thing and had a plan for what I was going to talk about today. I could see how that might seem. like a possibility, but I never do that on my streams. So if anything comes together that way, it's just the way it is. Okay. So it'll take me a while to get my tripod out. Problem with all this wind is it's going to be kind of shaky, I think. Loading? Is it loading? I don't know. It should be working. Oops. Sorry, I accidentally hit my gimbal, turned it off. I think my battery bank is actually getting not like completely depleted, but it's lower than it usually gets because I've been using it a lot today to recharge my phone after that catastrophe of it not charging for a while, and so it's getting down. Normally I don't even take a notch off of it, but last time I checked it was like missing a notch on the charge, which isn't that big of a deal, but it's not usually the case. Okay, we're going to do a Tai Chi stance with the tripod. Just means all the way spread out so it's massively stable. It's probably going to jiggle around a little bit though, just because of the wind. It's a very stable tripod in general though, because you can vary the angle of the legs significantly. It's pretty nice. It's kind of heavy though. Like lately I've been using a very cheap junky tripod on my hikes if I bring anything at all, because it's this one's so heavy I don't really like taking it. Alright, let's see. But you can see how versatile it is. I can actually make these even farther out than that. Like that's the second most sturdy setting. So even with this crazy wind, it's not going to go anywhere. I can make it like pretty much like a 90-degree angle flat on the ground, so it's like super sturdy. That's pretty nice. Alright, so now I just need to switch to my phone clamp, which I just had. I don't know what I did with it. Oh, it's under my arm. Alright. Whoops. Sorry about that. I somehow pushed a bunch of buttons on the screen that I don't know what happened. It kind of crashed the app. It's weird. Never done that before, but okay. So some of the platforms won't recover from that because some platforms suck. I hate it when platform doesn't recover from a momentary glitch on the connection. It's really irritating, but it is what it is. It's not a big deal. I'm streaming into more platforms than I probably should be anyway, so if a couple of them cut out, it's not a big deal. All right. Okay, snack time. Snack time, drink time. I should refill my bottle too. Yeah, it's only 2 o'clock. I could do a ton more hiking. I have the time for it, but probably won't. Because of my sock. That's what I was talking about, Providence. I didn't necessarily connect the dots, but what I meant is there's probably a reason why I'm supposed to go home earlier. Like, if you're watching for those kind of opportunities and asking God about it, saying like, lead me every day. And I mean, if I wasn't here right now, I wouldn't get to see that little guy. Even he's special. Basically, just everything matters. If you're paying attention, you might get a few opportunities to meet somebody that you weren't planning on. I've had that happen so many times over my life, and over the last week it's happened even more than that, or more than normal, where I'm in the right place at the right time to talk to somebody that really needed to be encouraged or whatever, that kind of thing. And the same thing happens with me all the time too. Like, a guy gave me a free treat the other day, and that, he didn't have to do that, but that made my day all that much better. And just, you never know. All right, let me grab a snack and my Gatorade. This guy is persistent. I've been moving my hand all over the place, like getting stuff out of my pack, and he's just like still on my hand this entire time. Can't even blow him off. That's crazy. He's like, nope, this is my glove. Thank you very much. All right. He finally went off. I had to blow him like super hard. He didn't get blown off. He was like, okay, fine. I get it. And he made his own decision. I couldn't get him off. Okay. Whoa. Forgot to get my snack. Can't see. Oh, there it is. Alright, just need to get my chair set up and then I can relax for a while and replenish my energy a little bit for the hike back. It'll be relatively easy on the way back, in one sense, because it's going to be all downhill. But because of my sock situation, going downhill with an inadequate provision for your feet, you might get a blister. I probably already have a small blister, but it might get worse. Some of the things that I wrote when I was a kid, meant something to me at the time, and, they sound kind of, I don't know what the word is, possibly pretentious or just kind of, poetic or something like that. And I don't write that way at all anymore, never. So if I read my journal from when I was younger, it's going to sound kind of goofy, to be honest. Or, I don't know, it's not how I talk anymore. I used to write poetry and I used to kind of try to write in a literary fashion of some form. Now I write in the sloppiest, boring style I can possibly describe. Okay. This should be okay, I think, as long as this doesn't tip over, which it might. Snack time. It'll help to put my microphone inside my shirt too. Possibly. The other good reason to not do more today or just overdo it is I kind of like to save something for next time. I could do, shotgun approach and do 10 buttes in one day or something, but then I wouldn't fully appreciate the experience. There wouldn't be as much memory attached to it. But if I kind of soak it in like I'm doing here and spend some more time, and maybe even somebody drops by and have a conversation of some kind, then there's a experience attached to the place. That first place that I went to earlier today is the same place where there was that huge storm on my live stream, and there was rainbows and all sorts of crazy stuff. And that was a very spiritual day for me. And so, I should say I'll always remember that, but the fact that my brain is kind of shutting down in my old age, I can't even guarantee that. But it was such an overwhelming experience for me that day, such a powerful experience that I need to write about it, but I haven't done it yet, and I might do that this week, because I want to make sure that I capture that memory. I don't know if there's a purpose for that other than just what happened with me. Maybe it could be a blessing to somebody else. I don't know, but it's definitely one of those mountaintop experiences. Quite literally. I think this could be really good for me, and possibly, I don't know if anyone's going to be willing to admit that they like this kind of content, because it's kind of, if you watch somebody that's being really introspective and talking deeply, especially about religious things, you kind of want to do so from a distance, so you don't have to claim any attachment to a person that you think is, I don't know. You know what I'm saying, though? Like, I think part of the reason people don't watch my streams, especially when I'm doing the meaningful talk stuff, is they don't agree, or they have a different worldview, and so they don't want to have their name associated with something that they don't like or agree with. There's another one. It might be the same guy. Probably can't see it from there, but he's just sitting right on my package there. My snack pack. I'm okay with all that too. It's I think a lot of people don't really like being associated with religious things, and I think people are largely going to a streaming service for meaningless content, to be honest. Completely materialistic, funny, just nonsense. And I understand that. I'm not condemning that, but I think that's why my stream doesn't typically do so well. There's 100 reasons, but I think I know some of them. But whatever those are, they're very curious and friendly insects. I don't know if they bite or not. I guess I'll find out momentarily if it hurts. I think it looks to me like they have little suckers, kind of like a butterfly. I can't even feel it right now. I can't feel that there's anything on my thumb, but it's got a little sucker thing that it's probably wicking up moisture from my thumb. And it doesn't look like it. I can't tell for sure, but it might not have a stinger. It looks sort of like a wasp or a bee kind of thing, but it's much smaller and more friendly, I guess. But there's my company for the day. Since I don't typically get viewers on my IRL, I can talk with the flies and bees. If I'm nice to him, let him face that way, so the wind is just like pushing his wings back. If I turn him around the other way, his wings kind of like splay out in a probably uncomfortable fashion. And he knows that, or she. Every time that it's landed, it's facing that direction. So there's an intelligence there that it knows how to be comfortable. Very clearly designed. Even the smallest and simplest things in creation are quite ornate and beautiful and complicated when you actually take the time to look at them. Probably just saw his eyes flash or his life flash before his eyes as I take a bite of my snack. It's like, he's gonna eat me. I wonder if it knows that I'm paying attention to it. If it can see my huge face and recognize like the shape of my eyes to know that I'm like looking at it, considering it, or if it's just like, it doesn't. I'm guessing it probably at least knows that it's on another living organism. I think most insects know what other life forms are. I mean, I don't actually know that for sure. They might just be driven by their senses, instincts, and like by experience, they know that something that looks like me has something they want and they land. Or it could just be like a scent, like they pick up that they go towards and land on it. Like, who knows? But I sometimes wonder, can you see me? I'm right here. I mean, can it hear me too? What do I sound like if it can hear me? Is it like those cartoons where if you're larger than something else, you sound like, and if you're smaller than somebody else, you sound like, just, I don't know if there's any science behind that, or if that's just like, funny stereotype. I don't really know. It's a good thing I brought this Gatorade because originally I was thinking to just do that first volcano and then maybe go back down and then do some other stuff in a different direction. And I wouldn't have needed a lot of water for that because it wasn't really that far. But now that I did 3 volcanoes all in one hike, I'm pretty much out of my first water bottle here, so it'll be good to have an extra one on the way down and just while I'm sitting here too. Oh, and my hiking friend gave me some of his cashews that I have from the last hike. He actually gave these to me on the waterfall hike that I have. I didn't live stream it because I don't usually live stream when I'm with other people, just out of respect for their privacy and, you know, putting them first instead of the content, you know what I mean? I hate that aspect of us as live streamers where, oh, that would make good content, you know. I can't stand that. But it's kind of inevitable. If you do it a lot, you kind of see things through that lens a little bit. But when I'm with other people, I just step out of the streaming world. But I made a small exception when I was with him that time. I took a couple short videos of the waterfalls because I knew I don't go to those water, or really any waterfalls very often. I think the last time I had been to those waterfalls was like 15 years ago or something. And so I wanted to make sure to get a short video of them at least. But anyway, that's the trip where he shared the cashews with me. I didn't get alert you came online. Oh, no worries. I've actually been on like, I think maybe 4 times now, at least 3. You're not missing much. I'm going to read my first journal entry ever, though, because I think it fits in with today's experiences and would be kind of a nice cap to the whole thing, or just whatever, like an end, kind of a conclusion or something, takeaway. Kind of cheesy because I wrote it back when I was a teenager, but that's alright. It's fun to have you on in the background. Nice. Well, I appreciate it. I should make you a mod. I don't really need mods, but anybody that comes by a few times that I know I can trust, I sometimes do that. Actually, the main reason I don't make people mods, and I don't have very many mods, is I don't like I feel like it's pretty presumptuous to do that, to assume that somebody even wants to do that, first of all, but also I think it puts kind of an unfair pressure on somebody, so they think like, oh, I like coming by, keeping it casual, just dropping by every once in a while. Like, oh, I'm a mod. It's like I feel like I have to be there or something. So I have very few mods over the years. Yeah, if you ever need help, okay with helping, cool. Yeah, it's more about like on the very rare occasion that I'm doing something kind of important and some troll comes by and does something funky while I'm trying to concentrate on something. But it doesn't happen much because my channel is very unpopular. So I'm not too worried about it. I mean, like, the mods that I have are never here, pretty much. And I don't expect anything of them, so. They're just friends. It's kind of a way to label friends, people that I feel like there's more to the connection than just a casual hello, kind of a thing. But yeah, I won't do that to you, because I feel like that's kind of a curse, depending on the person's attitude. You know what I mean? But just I know that we have kindred thoughts. You and I is just kind of recently connected, but I don't know if you've been aware of me over the years, but I've definitely been aware of you. I think you've been on DLive probably as long or longer than I have. I don't know. You can mod me if you'd like. Totally up to you. Yeah, well, we'll just leave it for now, but not a big deal. Shouldn't have mentioned. It's kind of awkward, actually. But I would definitely trust somebody like you there's only certain people that you kind of want to give that privilege just in case they do weird stuff. I knew who you were, and I would pop in from time to time. Yeah, cool. Do you remember when you started on DLive? I get the feeling that you've probably been there at least since 2019 or 2020, or I don't actually remember. Some people I kind of remember when they started, because I've been here so long that I've outlasted most people. And I can't pinpoint a date usually, but I can kind of remember when it happened, like as far as back when I used to watch a lot of streams on DLive. It was pretty often that I saw somebody's first stream because I was just kind of surfing around so much. But it's not like that anymore. I don't really watch streams that much. April 2019, nice. Yeah, so you just barely have me beat. I started in May. I actually started streaming before that, but I was streaming on YouTube for a short period of time and didn't like it, so I searched for other platforms, found DLive, and the rest is history. Now I'm streaming everywhere, though. I basically streamed everywhere that has existed since then, more or less. Even the ones that don't exist anymore. Alright, let's get this cheesy journal reading out of the way. I started in streaming in 2005, went to Periscope when it started. The die went to DLive. That's cool. I had a Periscope account, but I didn't ever use it. At least I don't think I did. But I created a Periscope account because I heard that you could live stream 360 content, and I had my 360 camera at the time. I think I may have tested that once. I don't remember, but so maybe I did a live stream there, but I didn't really use it. I just kind of tried it out. All right, here's my actual first journal. It's just one of those report cover kind of things that you get in school, and I just printed out a bunch of individual sheets and bound them in there. That's how I got my start. I have a few of these before I switched to like actual books. There's something kind of charming and freeing about this format because you can put whatever you want in here. Like once you have a book and bind it, it's kind of hard to like put things in it without just making it fatter and fatter and kind of a mess. But with this, you could put all sorts of stuff in there and bind it together. It's not as permanent feeling and fancy, but I mean, I've had this for decades and it still exists as an object in the world, so it hasn't disintegrated into a pile of dust yet. So that's a good testament to the materials, I guess. I do just kind of keep it in like the basement or equivalent of that. So yeah, I haven't decided what I'm gonna say exactly about this stuff. I could say the dates. I could say how old I was when I wrote it. I haven't decided that stuff yet. I'm still in the process of deciding what I want to do, if I'm going to do it first of all, and then what I want it to be about, how I present it, and so on. I think for now, maybe I'll say, rather than saying specific dates, I'll say how old I was when I wrote it. Maybe that's a good start. 2005 though, that's crazy, man. I didn't even know it was possible to stream in 2005. Like, 2005, really? That's crazy. It's like practically before the internet existed. Not quite, but man, live streaming has been around for a long time. I had no awareness of live streaming at that period in history. That I can tell you that much. Like, even I didn't even know what Twitch was until, I don't know. I don't remember when it happened, but like when I first heard about live streaming, it was, not that long ago. I mean, maybe 10 years ago. I'm not sure. Can't remember. All right, so here is my first journal entry, and we'll see how much I decide to read. The other stuff I have to do is decide how much personal information I want to divulge, whether I change the names in the stories to conceal the identities of other people in my life and stuff like that. I'll probably do things like that if I feel like it's too personal, or I'll skip over certain things, like only read select stuff. So we'll see. This might be the only time I ever do this. I don't know, but I think I will actually. I was on Twitch with Justin. Yeah, I've heard of that. Like, I remember hearing that story, but I've never heard of Ustream. I don't think. Maybe I did at one time. Anyway, so yeah, I'll read the first journal entry. That's probably just like a page. It's not that long. No, actually, it's a little bit longer. But it's in the context of high school. Let's see how old I was. Let me think, to do a little bit of math here. Let's see, when was I born and how old was I at this time? Huh. I think I was 14 years old when I wrote that. That's kind of cool because, quite honestly, I thought I was like 16 when I started writing in a journal. I've never actually even looked at the date on this thing. Yeah, so I think I was 14 years old when I wrote this. So I went to a Christian school, and I think I'm talking a little bit about, it's just all my personal thoughts, but I was writing about something that happened in class. So the history of my journal is that one of my teachers, who I'm very, very thankful for at this point, encouraged us as students to start a journal. And so in order to motivate us in that direction, he actually made it an assignment in class, which it didn't last very long at all because a lot of the students refused, and they're like, understandably so. That's kind of a specific thing to have students do, and to grade them on it seems kind of unfair if they're not like the type that likes to write in a journal or whatever. But modern kids these days complain and don't want to be told what to do. So that's basically what it was all about. But I was a very serious kid growing up. Even as young as 6 years old, I remember being very contemplative and spiritual and stuff. And so if anything, I actually think I've decreased in my capacity to think deeply and spiritually and maturity and all that stuff. Like, I think I was actually pretty smart and grown up as a kid, in the sense of I knew like what was going on inside myself and around and people around me. So it's very self-aware and emotionally aware and all that. So yeah, I wrote about things that maybe most teenagers wouldn't write about, but it's just kind of the way I was, I guess. And I feel kind of like a dullard now in comparison to how I was, and I'm kind of anxious to read it in here somewhere. I think quite early on I wrote something about trying to get back to the way I was. It was a poem that I wrote. I think it's called "The Way You Were," and it's just a poem of like changing over time and wishing you could return to the innocence of how you were before and that kind of stuff. It might even be in the first few pages of this journal. I don't remember, but that won't be what I read today. But yeah, I'm just gonna I'll leave my hat on because I'm not that much of a traditionalist in that sense. I think I'll be okay. But yeah, Lord, help me to, if I'm gonna do this, to have the right motivations. And if even that I've been wondering about this for 10 years, since 2015, whether I was supposed to reread my journals, and if that was what I heard from you 10 years ago, and it took me that long to get the message, please forgive me and help me to just pick up where I left off 10 years ago and be on the right program or path to what you wanted me to do, and help me to be more sensitive to your spirit and listening to your guidance so that I don't miss opportunities for such a long period of time. But if it's not from you and I mishearing you, then I'll stop and not do it. But I just have a sense that you want me to revisit this, and since I'm a live streamer now and the timing is right, it just feels like maybe I can share it with others and somehow be a blessing. So that's up to you to make that happen if there's anything there. So all right, I just want to dedicate this reading, and if I do this more, and this is the first time, that's kind of why I wanted to pray about it, in case there's a purpose for it beyond what I'm able to understand in the moment. So I was 14 years old. I wrote this. Kind of tempted. I wrote a bunch of scripture verses too. I may look those up. I don't know. I could show those on the stream. That would be kind of cool, wouldn't it? Nah. I need to, actually, you know what? I need to modify that script so I can show individual verses. Actually, I think I can do that, but it might be a little bit tedious. Let's try it. I'm going to try it. That'd be kind of cool if that works. All right. Let's try that, because if that's true, then we already have a second purpose for my script that I wrote, which I'm already pretty sure it'll have a lot of uses or different possibilities. Excuse me. Also want to check my battery and make sure it's not about to die again or something. I think we're okay. Alright, so I need my third phone for the scripture stuff. Not sure where it is. Everything is looking good, thanks, man. Sorry for the long delays. Anybody that's actually watching and thinking like, get on with it. It's a Monty Python reference, but I'm a little bit slow. I don't know where my phone is. It's probably in my pocket, to be honest. Yep. Should have known. Okay. Pretty good chance that could have gone sailing if I didn't turn that over. It's still pretty windy up here. All right. Hotspot. Oh, I forgot something else I need to do. I think I turned the layer off on my streaming software, so it probably would not show the scriptures even if I put them on there. Let's see. Alright, that should work. I don't want to make too big of a deal about my journal or something like it's going to be something extremely profound, but it's kind of like the idea of sharing it anyway. It's just kind of fun, something different. I think it is possibly kind of important for me to do this. As far as like whether it's useful to share it or not, that's the part I was trying to figure out. But I think I'm not always good at listening to God and what he tells me. Like, I'm usually terrible at it, actually. I don't hear from him for ages, and I don't know how to recognize his voice, whether it's just me talking to myself or if he's telling me something, or if just random circumstances around me or have no significance, but I misinterpret reality. It's difficult. I've never been good at that stuff. But alright, so now I have the capability to show passages on screen if I want to, which is kind of cool. So this is going to take a long time actually if I do it this way, but that's okay. I'm kind of enjoying hanging out here. So even though I'm not hiking more after this, I'll still get to enjoy the experience of being out here because I'm just taking the time to do all this extra stuff, I guess. Okay. And I'm honestly, I think this is going to be cheesy, what I wrote, because of how I used to write. It's kind of like a teenager trying to sound like poetic or something, but whatever. I think the other reason I was going to mention earlier, I forgot, is the reason some of this is written this way is because, as crazy as this sounds, we turned our pages in to the teacher to prove that we wrote in our journals, because you can't just I don't know, I guess you could take students at their word, but like if you're a teacher, you kind of want to see some evidence that they're following the curriculum or doing what they're instructed and stuff. So I don't remember if he asked us to turn it in or we just had to I think honestly, if I remember, it's been a very long time ago, I think we took our journals into class and just kind of flipped through showing that we wrote something. I don't think he read what we wrote necessarily, but I do remember that I actually wanted him to read it, so I actually gave it to him each time and said, please read this, it's fine, it's nothing that I don't mind sharing. And I asked him, and then the next teacher after that, I continued the assignment for years, even though it wasn't required of us. So basically what I did is I asked the teacher, please read my journal and give me any feedback. It was sort of like a very early mentor type setup, and I was the one that set it up that way. And so I have a lot of writings in the margin of my journal of the things that the teachers wrote, and so it's kind of cool. It's a good memory. Hey, St. George the Great. Yes, it's live. And I just spit because I can't talk, I guess. Okay. So yeah, I have a lot of good memories from that time in my life. It's kind of one of my highlights, because that's where I met my 3 best friends is back then as well, and just, I don't know, good times. Alright, let's see what we can do here. Okay. Here goes. Providence. Divine guidance or care. God conceived as the power sustaining and guiding human destiny. Webster states it profoundly in his dictionary definition. God is in our lives. Suffering, pain, distress. Where is God's providence now? It is in His Word. His promise for providence lies in an articulate, elaborate form within the Bible. And then I wrote a reference here, John 16:33. So let's look that up. I think I know what that is, but let's see if I can show it on screen because it's so cool that I can do that now. John 16:33. I have told you these things so that in me you may have peace. In the world you will have tribulation, but take courage. I have overcome the world. Jesus also experienced suffering. Many burdens did he bear, the world's weight on his shoulders. His life, a mere revelation of God in the flesh. His death only foreseen as the single act ever to free us of suffering. Providence. He overcame the world. Although there is suffering in this world, we are guaranteed our peace, as he overcometh. Gotta throw in that little King James eth in there. That's what it's all about. Some other verses on providence. We got Mark 11:22. So cool that the Bible verse just showed up. Wonderful. I know, I like it. It's so cool. I'm really happy about that. Let's see. And it's not that hard to do it. I have to type the passage reference in, so that takes a little bit of time. But what I could do to make it even better is to have like a little menu where I could pick the book, the chapter, and the verse. That would be kind of nice. But how it is now is it's fine. Let's see. It seems to like kind of go out to lunch sometimes though. Oh, I didn't put a space in there. That's probably why. Okay. Oops. Okay, Mark 11:22-24. Have faith in God, Jesus said to them. Truly I tell you that if anyone says to this mountain, be lifted up and thrown into the sea, and has no doubt in his heart, but believes that it will happen, it will be done for him. Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours. Okay, let's look up Matthew. Let's see if it accepts abbreviations. 5:4. I designed it to, so it should, but it shouldn't do that 5:4-4. It should just say 5:4, but that's all right. Matthew 5:4. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. And we got Romans 5:1-5. Therefore, since we have been justified through faith, we have peace with God through our Lord Jesus Christ, through whom we have gained access by faith into this grace in which we stand, and we rejoice in the hope of the glory of God. Not only that, but we also rejoice in our sufferings, because we know that suffering produces perseverance, perseverance character, and character hope. And hope does not disappoint us, because God has poured out his love into our hearts through the Holy Spirit whom he has given us. And we got... Yeah, I'm enjoying this. It might be boring for people, but I'm going to take this to its full conclusion and read all of these. So I think it's kind of a waste of time, or a shame to have spent all this time selecting these verses when I was a kid, and then to just not even take the time to read them again. So it'll get me in the Word even more. So it's super cool that the Bible verses showed up. Oh, you already said that. Yeah, I was rereading stuff. Okay, so Luke 22:39. Jesus went out as usual to the Mount of Olives, and the disciples followed him. When he came to the place, he told them, "Pray that you will not enter into temptation." And he withdrew about a stone's throw beyond them, where they knelt down and prayed. Father, if you are willing, take this cup from me. Yet not my will, but yours be done. Then an angel from heaven appeared to him and strengthened him. It kind of hit me for some reason. I was just recently listening to a song. Wish I could share songs on here, but copyright claims. One of my favorite groups is Rescue, and it's Rescue. They're a group from Oregon, a local group, and I think they wrote a song called Darkest Hour. I think that's what it's called. So if you're interested to know what I was thinking at that moment, that's what it was. It's a beautiful song. It talks about that passage in Luke, and it just kind of hit me at that moment. I remembered. Okay, so let's see. Luke 1:78-79. Because of the tender mercy of our God, by which the dawn will visit us from on high, to shine on those who live in darkness and in the shadow of death, to guide our feet into the path of peace. It's a beautiful passage. I'm sorry, guys. The Bible is very powerful to me. Okay, so Ecclesiastes 7:13-14. I like this one. I haven't read this one in a while. Consider the work of God. Who can straighten what he has bent? In the day of prosperity, be joyful. But in the day of adversity, consider this. God has made one of these along with the other, so that a man cannot discover anything that will come after him. Hey Joe, how you doing? Good to see you. Okay, got Philippians. Four, 6-7. Be anxious for nothing, but in everything, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God, and the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Thank you, Joe. Yep, praise the Lord. Okay. 2 Corinthians 1:3-11. Blessed be the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of compassion and the God of all comfort, who comforts us in all our troubles, so that we can comfort those in any trouble with the comfort we ourselves have received from God. For just as the sufferings of Christ overflow to us, so also through Christ our comfort overflows. If we are afflicted, it is for your comfort and salvation. If we are comforted, it is for your comfort, which accomplishes in you patient endurance of the same sufferings we experience. And our hope for you is sure, because we know that just as you share in our sufferings, so also you will share in our comfort. We do not want you to be unaware, brothers, of the hardships we encountered in the province of Asia. We were under a burden far beyond our ability to endure, so that we despaired even of life. I know that feeling. Indeed, we felt we were under the sentence of death in order that we would not trust in ourselves, but in God who raises the dead. He has delivered us from such a deadly peril, and he will deliver us. In him we have placed our hope that he will yet again deliver us, as you help us by your prayers. Then many will give thanks on our behalf for the favor shown us in answer to their prayers. Man, that has so much in that passage that I've been thinking about lately. You have no idea how timely this is. This is impossible. If I were to describe what's going on in my life right now and how much it lines up with this, I think even people that don't believe in God or the Bible would be impressed. I waited 10 years to do this, and the moment that I chose to do it is really when this exact message is when I needed to hear it. So to think anytime we feel afflicted, it's important to remember we have an omniscient king that knows our feelings better than us. Yeah, and he puts us through those things for a purpose. Like, if I'm afflicted, it's for your comfort. Like, what he means is sometimes one person bears the burden of another, and I don't want to reveal too much, but I have prayed for this before, even recently, just because there's people in my life that are suffering greatly, and I've just asked to release their burden, and if it needs to be on me, I'm willing to do it. So all of this is very, very timely for me, because it's been stuff I've been thinking about a lot. Sounds like your prayer was answered. Yeah, for sure. All right, all these, speaking of the verses we just read, by inspiration and revelation of the Holy Spirit in Christ Jesus. And see yearbook theme copy. Let's see. I wrote, basically in my yearbook, there was this paragraph, and it completely matches this theme as well. I don't think I have it written here, but kind of vaguely remember it. Happy for you. Thank you, man. Off the subject. Sent a stupid letter to a girl I have a crush on. Wish I had never done so. I just write little things like that in here too. Reflecting on the past. Number 1. God revealed to me before school started that my friend and I should speak on suffering and its antidote. Number 2, the antidote was later revealed as providence in a touching viewpoint by our teacher, the one that encouraged us to start journaling. I asked God to help me with my homework because I found it boring and hectic, and got these responses. Letter A, a new way to practice reading comprehension was revealed to me using tape recorder and it was fun. And I forgot about that. I don't remember that at all. It's funny. It can be fun to try to remember math problems from last year while learning how to relate the Bible to math. C, French is a blast. For some reason, I really enjoyed French, I guess. I don't really remember, kind of a little bit. But letter D, in church on Sunday, I asked the Lord for joy to replace all the distractions He takes away. As a result, I was practically laughing throughout the song service. Providence, the power of prayer. Letter E, what are we talking about in history? Providence. Letter F, what are we talking about in English? Providence. Letter G, what does this theme mean from the yearbook? Providence. Are all these coincidences or destiny? All I know is they are nothing but God. Note, sending letters throughout the summer allowed me to be able to call girls ... friends. So yeah, basically back then I was in contact with the student council of my class because I wanted to start a Bible study, and so I wanted to start it at the beginning of the school year, and so I probably back then there was no cell phones and stuff, so I don't know how I got their contact information, but I think I actually called them. And the girls in my class are these ridiculously smart and beautiful girls. Anyway, but I called them and asked them what they thought as the student council, and they all said, yeah, go for it and stuff. So that's what that's talking about. Anyway, kind of funny. Yep, that's the first journal entry ever. I could keep reading, but I think, I don't know, I get the feeling that particular journal entry kind of sums up what I wanted to get across, or the message that sort of relates to what happened today with, the things I was talking about. I can't even remember. You just have to watch my stream, I guess. I don't know, everything. I guess the fact that God is sovereign and completely in control of every molecule and every galaxy and all that stuff. And just the fact that even when bad things happen to us, it's part of His plan because of that. Like, if God created everything and He has the power to control all things, all matter and energy in the universe, then even the difficulties that we have to go through is part of His plan for us. Sometimes it's in response to foolish decisions that we make, and we're just seeing the consequences of our actions. Other times He's allowing us to go through a refining process that difficulties and suffering often produce maturity, like that verse. Suffering produces perseverance, character, and character hope. That's kind of a large reason why we have to go through some of this stuff. It never feels fun at the time, but later on we may or may not realize who we've become as the result of the refining process that we've had to go through in life. I think we're better for it if we keep our eyes open to the various things that we're going through, and not just allow them to kind of mow over us. But if we are more conscious while it's happening, we can look back with thankfulness to realize that it wasn't for no reason. It wasn't just a complete waste of time. It wasn't, total disaster and tragedy. There's often a reason for, even those difficult things. So anyway, that's probably all I will share in that regard today. Maybe I'll do more readings in the future. I don't know. We'll see. Probably. I'm kind of leaning that direction. But yeah, thanks for the feedback on my tech. Really, I'm glad it's working too. And I could see some real potential for that. Thanks for the study today and the reading. Yeah, no problem. And enjoyed it as well. I think I probably will enjoy most of this more than anyone possibly can, because this is my past and my current experience. And unless you're going through similar things at just the right time and happen to, drop by my stream or watch it later or something, it probably won't necessarily have the same impact as it might just on me. So a lot of this is just for my own journey and experience. If it's a blessing to someone out there, that's kind of why I want to share it on stream. If not, then it's okay too. At least I'm benefiting from it, I guess. Even if no one ever comments, you're influencing people to spend time in the scripture. Yeah, I hope so. I mean, that's honestly the whole reason I want to do it. Because, anytime you do something in front of people, you have to worry that your motives might be for, you want to make sure, at least I do, that I'm not doing it to try to look righteous in front of other people, you know what I mean? Like the Pharisees, like Jesus warns us, don't do your fasting and fancy prayers in front of a crowd just to get praise from them, because then you already received your reward, you hypocrites and stuff. So I really want to be careful that that's not the motive in this. For me, it's more like I'm not very good at sharing stuff in real life with people because I'm so shy and introverted, but I can easily do it on live stream because I don't have to look at somebody's face and read body language and look at the floor and stutter because I can't figure out what to say. So it's totally different. So I feel like I can actually have a possible impact on somebody out there and in ways that I couldn't possibly do otherwise. So it's kind of a blessing in that sense. And I'm hoping, I want to stay prayerful about it, that's always going to remain my motive, is that I want to point people to Jesus, because he's the one that can actually help and save them. I can't do any of that stuff. I'm just here to point to him. So what does it matter? The important thing is, in every way, whether from false motives or true, Christ is preached. Yeah, that's a good one. Indeed. Although we should definitely analyze our motives and try to do things for the right reason, of course. All right, well, I don't know if I'll end the stream. I think since my camera is working, my battery is not dead yet, I think I'll keep it going. But I'm done with the arranged content or whatever you want to call it. So I think as soon as I'm done drinking this water, I'll fill up with my Gatorade, pack everything up, and then I'll just kind of walk around, get some views and angles, and then I'll hike down whatever side, this side, that side, probably that side, since I haven't been that way yet. I'll head back down. Oh no, wait a minute. I need to make a decision, because I was talking about earlier that somewhere back that way is I think is a trail. And because of my weird sock situation, I might go on the trail to prevent blisters, because if I head down this way, I might end up getting a bad blister. But before I head down, I don't know why I'm outlining every step I'm about to take. I guess because I'm streaming, I'm just here's what to expect, but it doesn't matter. I'm spending way too much time on that. End of rant. Every stream I've seen seems to be very selfless. Well, I hope so. Thanks for the feedback. I just don't want to come across, well, if I come across as arrogant, oh well, I mean, what I mean, there's two different ways to say that. I don't want to come across as arrogant. That's a bad way to say it, because maybe someone thinks that. What I really meant, though, is I don't want to have arrogance or pride in my heart and that's what's driving me to do anything. So hopefully that's the case. I like hearing people's inner monologue. It gets me in the zone. Nice. Okay. My mom does that a lot. Maybe I'm going to start doing that like her. She starts talking to me or somebody, and then she ends up like essentially saying what she's thinking, like just this constant stream of consciousness. And we're like, are you still talking to me, or are you just like saying all the stuff you're about to do or think about? So maybe I'm gonna inherit that thing. I don't really want to, because it's kind of weird, but not to speak negatively about my mom or something, but it's not necessarily attribute that I'm gonna like try to do necessarily, but it probably will just happen on its own. I think the reason I do that kind of a lot is because as a streamer, you always hear advice like keep the conversation going, like keep talking, don't just like allow there to be dead space. And so that's why I've been doing it. A streamer tends to make you into a person that talks to himself all the time. I mean, streaming as a hobby. I want to get each quirk make us very interesting people. Yep. Quirk, I'm assuming. But each quirk, I've got lots of those, trillions. Oh. I'm gonna record a short real quick, just so I have something to throw up on my YouTube, and then I'll start packing up my stuff and figuring out where I'm going. Hey Flo, up here on the top of the tallest of the three crescent volcanoes. Here's what I'm looking at. I just did a live stream, so I got my big mega sturdy tripod over here. It's kind of camera inception. You can look back and forth. The stream can see this one, and I can see that one. You can just like play them in a loop later if you want. And then we got some cool trees. Even though there's a fire that came through here and burned a lot of stuff, it kind of gives it some cool colors and textures that you might not normally see. All right, there we go. I always talk to myself that streaming was just natural for me. I do that to a certain extent, but only when I'm like completely alone and I'm trying to figure something out, I think. I don't do it like habitually all the time. There's certain circumstances, and I don't remember what the circumstances are, but I also don't know where I had a little sleeve that I brought this journal in. Must be thrown in my bag or something. Hopefully I didn't leave it sitting on the ground and it blew away earlier. That's certainly possible. It's not something I would normally do, but thanks for the clips. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. I have no idea where it went. got to figure out what to do with my expired bear spray canisters. Apply a seasoning to food, give it to bear so it's fair. That's hilarious. I don't know if you said that because you saw my bear canister, or my bear spray. Bear spray canisters. But yeah, I just got mine. I haven't had any for probably 10 years. I haven't had any for a long time. But that's what this is. Empty into water, then then donate the empty canister to the protesters. All great options. Yeah, I don't know what I did with that sleeve that I had my journal in. I hope it didn't blow away somewhere. It's weird. Oh well. Can't worry about it right now, I guess. One thing at a time. Let's see. I actually have read, I don't want to be dishonest in any way if I can be aware of it. So there's a slight correction. I have read, I don't know if I even ever said I've never read my journal, so it's kind of just saying things that don't need to be said, but I don't remember. If I said I've never read my journals, what I meant was I've never read through all of them, ever. So I did try to start reading them at one time a few years ago. I don't remember when it was. And I think I've read this particular one a couple times because I've tried starting to read through my journals from over the years, and this is the first one. So I've actually read this one before. But yeah, looks so much nicer there, flat and hot and raining here. Oh yeah. Michigan, is that what that is? Yeah, it's not that bad today, but yesterday it was 90 something degrees. This is what happens to your pants when you go bushwhacking, by the way. It's completely filthy, especially when I've noticed the last few hikes when I've been in these burn areas, if you just are kind of scrambling through some trees and stuff, it's basically drawing on yourself with charcoal. It's kind of crazy how much of it wipes off on your pants. Let's see, I forgot to wrap this up. Seems like we all have a bit scrupulosity. Well, obviously I know what that word means because my vocabulary is quite impressive. I can't remember what that means. I've heard that word before, but right at the moment I can't remember. Scrupulosity. Please define so I don't feel stupid. Okay. I used to have a better vocabulary, but I don't read books anymore. And I used to look up the stuff in the dictionary a lot too. Religious OCD, been there, done that. Okay. There we go. Let's see, next thing. Yeah, I have some OCD, but I kind of wish I had more OCD in a way, like I was more organized, and my life is kind of a mess right now, and I'm trying to get motivated, get things done, and I'm just having a really hard time focusing on tasks. You get easily discouraged, and let's see. All right, tripod next, I guess. Functional OCD is the goal. What we often get is, did I lock the keys in the car? Check 10 times. Yep. Pretty much. I can relate to that. I actually never used to do that kind of stuff. I was always super careful, and as I'm getting older and my brain's kind of rotting, it seems, I've done that kind of stuff a lot lately. Like, I've left things out on the counter that should be in the fridge or freezers, so they, like my ice, I left the ice out so it all melted. I've locked my keys in the car a couple times recently, and it's just annoying. Like, I never used to do all that stuff because I was always really intentional, and so it's not fun getting old and seeing your brain start dysfunctioning. Oh well, it's just the way things go. It's just gonna keep getting worse in that sense, probably. I know there's some things you can kind of do to improve your memory and all that stuff, but I'm not a very healthy person, so. Alright, just trying to get my gimbal set up here. La-di-da. Put that in backwards. Gotta fix that. Ah. Alright, that should be good enough. Tripod action. It's just so you can appreciate the full experience. Well, I don't know if this is a good idea because this could actually get blown over by the wind. It's just a monopod selfie stick thing, so it's not very stable. Ugh. And I need to take a look at the map real quick to figure out where that... I think there's a trail over there somewhere. And if it's not too far, I might opt to go that way. And if I do go that way, I might have to, not necessarily end the stream, but I think that the signal back that way will not be good, probably. But I can always try. But I'm guessing it will cut out as soon as I go down over the back. Let's see. Guess I'll check on this phone, see if I can figure it out. Okay, yeah. There's definitely a trail over there somewhere. So I'll probably go back that way just to spare my foot. I'm a little bit concerned that I might have issues because of my socks, so we'll do that. Let's see. Get my pack on and then I'll be pretty much ready to go. Oh, I forgot I had my microphone on. I'm glad that didn't like fall off while I wasn't being conscious about it. It was under my shirt, so it's not very likely to happen, but it's still certainly possible. Okay. All right, we'll just see what happens. Like, I'll walk over here just to take in the view one more time. Maybe do a short if there's a view that's compelling enough. And oh, I forgot I put that white cherry Gatorade in my water bottle. I'm gonna take a swig because that'll be very refreshing. Yep. It's between the white cherry flavor and the orange. Those are kind of my favorites. Don't think I'm leaving anything. Hopefully I didn't miss any messages that my chat on screen goes away if I don't look at it soon enough. Don't think I missed anything though. Alright, so let's go back over here just to get a view and then probably head out of here. That's kind of a cool bunch of shapes there. I think I already got this picture, but the sun's kind of in a different spot, so maybe it looks better now. Ah. Was coming up just back here somewhere was kind of just right in front of the trees so I could see the view a little bit better. So we'll see if I don't have to go back too far. I'll get that view and then I'll head back down behind me somewhere, I think. It's actually way more direct as far as the crow flies to go straight down this slope to get back to where I started, but I'm just at least mildly concerned about my toe. I don't know. I have kind of mixed feelings about it, if I'm honest, because the distance will be far greater, I think, if I go to that trail. But I think it will be easier on my feet overall. I don't know. It's kind of a toss-up, honestly. Because this would be way more direct. So less steps, but more intense individual steps because of the going down the massively steep slope. So I think I'm going to go the other way. I'm having a hard time deciding, but I think that makes more sense. There's the view again. Go over a little bit more. It's even clearer down there a bit. I don't want to go down too far though, because I'm going to probably go back the other way. Pretty nice view though, it's cool. I actually kind of like these burnt trees. They look like Bob Ross trees, the kind that the sticks and twigs, happy little trees that he puts down at the bottom of some of his paintings. Or the big ones he always has in the foreground. It's kind of funny how he often paints the same thing over and over again. Let me get just the right angle to get this cool tree and that over there. It's kind of a nice panorama. The one thing that this DRO mode on my camera, I'm noticing just now, doesn't seem to save or preserve the highlights all that well, whereas the actual HDR does pretty strong correction in that regard. So I don't know how it compares exactly. There's different numeric settings on it too. It's like DRO number 1 through 5, and 5 is more extreme obviously, and 1's kind of subtle. I think the more subtle generally looks more natural, but it doesn't restore the highlights quite as well. But oh well. I don't know, I really like this scene. It's not necessarily the best view ever as far as like what's out there. I mean, it's great, but there's something about the foreground elements that I really like. Like this gnarly tree right there is really cool, and then all these millions of sticks right there. It's interesting, and got this other cool tree right there, and then all that stuff. Actually quite a nice spot. The reason I didn't stop here earlier when I was trying to find a place where I was going to stop is because for some reason it's like a lot windier here, and I was kind of concerned that that would be a problem for the stream. But this is a super nice spot. It's awesome. Should have sat here, if I'm being honest. I'll probably come back here again though, like since I'm going to be doing this Bible reading thing and possibly the journal thing too, or at least some of it. I'll have to repeat some places, but I think probably what's going to happen is this is a pretty extravagant location. It's not somewhere I can get to every day because it's quite a drive and I have to, spend gas money to get here. So I'm more likely going to be going to the places that are closer so I don't spend so much money that I don't have. So, but I wouldn't mind coming back here, that's for sure. It's a very, very nice place. I think this is one of the places I would take my best friend that sometimes hikes with me. I think he would like it a lot. It's a lot of work. He's been struggling with his knees lately, so I don't know how much of this kind of stuff he'd want to do, but once he's recovered or whatever, I don't know, maybe he'll be up for something like this. Alright, I never know what to do. You kind of just keep panning back and forth because that's all I know how to do. Something really annoying in my pocket. For some reason my pockets tend to little stones and twigs. When I'm bushwhacking, they tend to gravitate towards my hip pocket and just get stuck in there, and I almost get sores on my leg where they're just rubbing back and forth all the time. It's mainly because I actually have to buy pants and or shorts with a bunch of pockets because of my live streaming hobby. Because I'm carrying around so much gear, like it's mainly the 3 phones, my battery bank, and the cords and stuff. So it's just like I gotta have extra pockets. Another one of those little bee things. Kind of makes me realize how much variety there is in that family of insects. I don't even know if it's the same family necessarily, but it looks kind of like a tiny yellow jacket or type of bee or something. But it doesn't appear to have a stinger. Very friendly. It has like a butterfly sucker thing similar, and so yeah, it's quite unique. I think I've seen those a million times. I just haven't necessarily had them land on my hand where I can inspect them up close like that. I've had a great day though. Like I didn't do like the 10, I didn't necessarily have a number, but there's probably like 7 to 10 mountains that I could have gone up, and I only did 3. But I mean, 3 volcanoes in one day. I mean, when you put it like that, like I only hiked up 3 volcanoes today. And see, can't complain about that. Alright, so I'm looking for a fairly easy way down. I might go over this way to begin with because eventually that's the way the trail is going to take me out. But yeah, like I said earlier, probably the signal will die off as soon as I go down this slope. Because from what I've been experiencing, my guess is that the cell towers are over here somewhere because the signal's been really good over there. And so once I dip down below this mound, it wouldn't surprise me if it instantly cuts off. So, as usual, expect a sudden end of the stream, possibly. I'll say my goodbyes and thanks for everybody that dropped by just in case. I might be pleasantly surprised. There might actually be a cell tower over this direction, too. It's kind of tempting to go down the ridge of the volcano so I can say that I circumnavigated all of them, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I could go down this one though, because I think I know the trail's over here, but it might kind of curve down there, and so if I did this side of this one, it might not actually be a bad move. But either way, I'm going to have to go down at least one volcano, this one that I'm on, to get down to either the trail or... Yeah, okay, so yeah, like I predicted, as soon as I dip down this side, it's dying. So I think I'm going to actually end the stream officially so I don't have 5 or 10 minutes of terrible bit rate at the end. So I think I'll officially end it up here and then pack away and make it easier to get down. So anyway, thanks everybody that joined. I'll be doing more of this kind of stuff when I get the chance, but I think I'm going to be busy for a few days on some... I'll probably do some streams from home, but not necessarily some hiking streams. Although, what I was actually kind of thinking is I could do some early morning hikes if I can get on a normal schedule again, like a normal human schedule. Because I get up early, do a hike in the morning, head back home and get a bunch of stuff done that I need to do, and it wouldn't be quite as disruptive. So there's a chance I might do more hikes just in the morning. We'll see. No idea. But anyway, we'll catch y'all later. Thanks for joining me.